Okay, on to the next part. I gotta be honest with you, I've never had one of these apart before, so we're just gonna take things logically. So we got a couple of springs to deal with. Let's point them out. Don't know what they're called. Doesn't matter because I'll know where they go. We have a spring here that is holding onto this lever. And when I activate it, you can see where that's going. So before we take that lever out, that spring's got to come out. This is screwed holding onto this wheel, and that has a spring that comes down to here. So we're going to take that out next, and let's go from there. Let's not complicate this too much. Break it down to its simplest parts, and then we'll go from there. A lot of times springs have a mind of their own. If their energy is stored up, and you take a screw out and they take off. Sometimes you can relieve that tension. Now this is a very delicate thin piece of metal. There's not a whole lot of tension on that, so it doesn't look like it's going to come flying out. Fairly loose, sitting right there. So we can take that out. That's a delicate piece of machinery, artwork, metal work, whatever you want to call it. It's art as well as skill producing that. This spring here is pressing on something under there. Don't know what it's called. Doesn't matter. We're taking it out. And before I do, it looks like it's just leaning on this part here. It's just leaning on that. And that has a little... Okay, that's screw... Okay, I'm just talking to myself. Because I don't know what that's going to do, I'm going to hold on to it. That seems to be under a bit of tension. So I'm going to come in with a pair of tweezers. And I'm just going to, where I can come in here, where I can come in here and lean on it. By lean on it, I mean hold it in place so it doesn't go flying. Does that make sense? That's a very delicate spring. Doesn't appear to be under much tension. Because I do not know, I'm not taking a chance. That's also pinned. There's a pin on the back side of that spring. Let's get a shot of that. There's a pin. Put that with its screw. This mechanism here. Okay, this looks like an adjuster. Let's get in the shot so people see it. Dummy. Genius. Let's get it focused too while we're at it. Of course, my computer's not keeping up. Come on. Wake up. My computer's not keeping up. This is an adjuster similar to a 3133. This rocks back and forth, so that screw we're going to worry about later. This appears to be the only screw holding that in place, and that screw hole is elongated. And I think that'll come out and bring that whole assembly out. Do I know that for sure? Of course not. And that is a shouldered screw as well. Something to take note of. So, does this assembly come out off of that adjuster? Or whatever that's called. It does. That just lifted right off. And that assembly can come out. And it appears that spring was putting tension on that assembly there. So there's whatever that's called. Very similar to a 3133 so far. Now that we have the spring off of this lever, that lever does not appear to be captured by anything. Of course, my computer's not keeping up. Is my computer? Oh, look at that! My computer caught up. This was our dial foot holder, and this appears to be captured under that screw. Probably just there to do exactly that. Capture that end of the lever so it doesn't move anywhere. And that is a shouldered screw as well. So with that out of the way, we can come around here to the lever. We have to keep in mind, I'm going to tighten my holder here. Keep in mind we may have left-handed screws here. This one is not. I don't know if something this old would have an indication with the 3 grooves cut into it to let us know that it is a left-handed thread. I do not know. That lever comes right off. Alright. And if you look, come around here, we have a spring. Now that that lever is off, that spring is going to want to take off. So let's get it out of there. Okay, release the pressure and it'll come right out. Easy enough. The nice thing about making a video of taking something apart, you have recorded history of where everything went. If you forget where it went, go back to the video. So we have some more springs here. Pretty intricate piece we're looking at. We have a spring here, I believe. We have one under here. We'll deal with that later. Let's look at, got that, we got that. There's our click. Okay, here's a piece. Let's not ignore. Let's get it in the shut, dummy. That spring that I took out was part of this mechanism here. You can see what that's doing. I believe that's the reset lever or stop go. I don't know. But this appears to just lay in there. So let's get that out. It's a very tiny piece. Can it come out? Maybe not. Maybe we have to do a little more leg work. Let's go to that spring. I got a finger on it, just in case. JIC, just in case. Yep. A very delicate spring as well. Speaking of springs, we have another one right there. And it looks like it's part of right in this assembly. So before we go further, let's relieve some tension off of that spring. Okay. I do not want springs flying. Relieve the tension, take it out. Sounds logical. And I'm just doing this in logical steps of what do you think goes next? Well, I think this does. That screw was a little tight. Like I said before, the nice thing is we have everything recorded. So if I'm not sure where this goes, I'll go back to the film. Okay. Now we have this little bugger accessed to remove it. Very cool. How this is coming apart. Should be cool going back together. Looks like we have another spring here. Right there's a spring. We have a spring here. We have some lint and dust. This reset lever. Let's see what that's doing. The reset lever. Oh, look at that. The reset lever just pivots out of the way. Oh, discovered that by accident. Off that comes. Pretty uneventful. Pretty cool. Looks like we have a brake right here. Very similar to the 3133, a brake and its actuator. And it's held in by a screw, and we have a spring underneath. What do we want to do? Well, we can't worry about the spring because it's held in by a screw. It's not going anywhere. So let's get the brake out of the way. Off with the brake. It looks like a delicate piece for sure. Okay, now we have some of this chrono mechanism spring loaded. Spring loaded, yes it is. An adjuster here. Screw holding that, another spring holding that. Let's take the chrono bridge off. That's our next one that looks like it can come off fairly easily. Fun stuff. Okay, can I get under it? Looks like it's got a little tight fit. Okay. Sometimes there's a screwdriver slot you can get in. It just happened to be snug. Okay, that is a jeweled bridge as well. We have a chrono wheel with its spring. That's a tiny, look at that thing has a very flimsy spring on it. So here's one of our chrono wheels. We're going to take this off. That looks like one delicate spring. Let's get that out of the way. And I believe let's see. That one up top is an adjuster. That's an adjuster, I believe. You might have an eccentric. Maybe not. It's a shouldered screw. That's what it is. Let's get in the shot, people. I'm losing my light. How does this work? That screw is shouldered. Doesn't appear to be an adjuster. Okay. It is adjustable only by moving that slot in and out on that slot. That's a very delicate spring. We're not going to mess with that. Okay. The center chrome. Let's adjust my camera here. You're looking at it like your head's tilted to the side, dummy. This will come out. Our center chrono wheel, and it has a what do you call that? A preloading something or other. Oh, look at that! It rotates as you put it in. So we got to make sure we line that up nice when we put that together. That is a preloader. Keeps tension on it. 3133 is a lot simpler to get apart in terms of that and put together. We're getting up on 16 minutes. Let's get this done as much as we can. Let's get that spring out. Going to be interesting cleaning all these parts. I think I'll just do them in batches so I don't get anything mixed up. Okay, uneventful. Looks like a little castle wheel. We have a spring-loaded mechanism here. Let's get the spring out first. Let's get it in the shot. Okay, I'm running out of space here. Is that a dog hair? Probably. Okay, there's that little U-shaped spring. Now this should be a floater. Well, I call that a floater, meaning it's not held captive by anything other than the spring and everything on top of it, and it's got an adjuster there. My thing on the adjusters is don't change them unless you have to. Now coming across here we have this little bridge. Look at that, a little piece of a burr, piece of metal. This bridge is held captive in a couple of places here. Get in the shot, dummy, and focus. This bridge is held with a screw here and probably shared with that screw, and that might be a screw that holds it as well. Let's get that out of the way. Alright, where do we want to put that? No, we'll put that there. Okay, looks like another screw. Don't know if that's a screw that's holding that. That might be an adjuster. So we're going to leave it. There we go. This is pinned. Off that comes. I do with that screw. There it is. And it looks like the last thing for the chrono is this castellated wheel. Looks kind of cool. Big shouldered screw, very big. It's a large screw, and that'll come off, and there you have it. Part of the chrono actuating resetting mechanism. Now, we are 20 minutes into this. We're down to the main train, the pallet, the fork, pallet fork, the escape wheel. Well, you know what I'm talking about. Let's do that on the next video. And for now, we're going to stop, and we'll see you soon.